What is good, YouTube? It's your boy, cbmarcus, aka Scoich, aka Vegan Jesus, aka all that shit, whatever you want to call me. Today, we're going to be cosplaying as Content Boy Marcus because we were doing some Sword and Shield content. Finally, I got the game, and so now I have to join a league, and it is an upload required league. For people who have known me for long enough, I guess. I don't really upload. I upload one video and then I kind of dip. I'm basically a draft dodge here because I show up with the DA and then I don't post my week one. That is it. But this is upload required. Content is going to be going up every single Wednesday, so be sure to check in. And the reason why it's upload required, especially for me, is because the host of the INT Cahoots is within a 2-hour drive. He knows my address, so he can either A, dox me, or he can hold me at gunpoint. So I have to put this content out every single Wednesday. So if you're interested, just stay tuned. This shit will be plugged, or you can DM me, or you don't have to do anything about it. But basically, this draft happened on Saturday, and it was a fast draft. It took about 2 hours for 10 people to draft a team between 9 and 11 mons, and that's because the timer was set to 2 minutes. It was a live draft, and so if you didn't pick, you basically got skipped. So within the theme of the draft, I'm going to also talk about the draft very quickly because this is usually the draft content that takes the most amount of time for the least amount of like actual analysis. So I'm just gonna get on with it. Basically, I had two things that I want to do in this draft. I wanted to draft a gravity user and a gravity abuser. And then I also did not want to draft the same landorus-t, slowking-g, strong water team. Because I basically led a lot of my drafts like that in past leagues. Basically since like August, I've been doing that. So I kind of want to cut it out, especially for my first Sword and Shield league. Now, without further ado, I was sticking to that stuff. And with the first pick, or at least my first pick in the draft, I went with Landers. Because I said, fuck you, past cbmarcus. Your checklist is dog shit, except for the gravity part, because gravity's cool. So I got a mon that could actually use gravity. I got a mon that could abuse gravity. It's really fun, and I'm never going to get tired of Landorus at all. You can basically slap a billion items onto this thing. You can slap a billion moves onto this thing. It's got so many cool EV spreads that you can use too. So what's not to love about it? With the second pick, or at least my second pick, in the draft, I said, fuck you to past cbmarcus again, and present cbmarcus is pretty happy that he did that. Because slowking-g is one of my favorite Pokemon ever, I guess. there are a lot of Pokemon I like, but this one is pretty damn special. I think for pretty much most matchups, there is a slowking-g set that can just win. It can just take stuff out, or at least force enough pressure to where something can just clean in the back. And it's just a matter of finding the right set to use, whether it's finding the right EVs, or finding the right moves, or finding the right support to bring in Slowking. It doesn't take a lot to get this thing going. And at 13 points, this is basically, I would say, my second best Pokemon, even though I'm going to go back up and pick some more valuable Pokemon. Up next, to finish the core of shit that I didn't want to draft, it's Keldeo, the strong special water. This thing's also going to be affected by gravity a little bit, which I figured would be cool. Specs Hydros basically have no drawback at this point, so I'm really excited to use that. And that kind of wraps up the core of shit that I didn't want, but I know that's going to be a pretty decent core. Good pivoting in between these guys. Good abilities for the most part. Keldeo's is pretty damn useless, but I think Intimidate plus Regen more than make up for that. And some good variety in terms of the sets. Up next, I went with another kind of like soft gravity user, but most importantly, a hazard user in Scolipede. This Pokemon being able to get up spikes and T-spikes is really nice. I used Venipede in BBL a few times, the Ubers League, and this is Daddy Venipede right here. I get spikes and T-spikes, and under gravity, maybe that does something, maybe that doesn't. But what gravity does do for Scolipede is it boosts its Earthquake against flying types. So I'm actually doing like non-zero amounts. And with Mega Horn, I'm also doing non-zero amounts because I'm actually going to be landing my Mega Horns against other Pokemon too. So that's going to be pretty cool. I also like Endeavor. I like Sash and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And it's got some good setup options as well. So overall, pretty cool stuff about it. Next up, I went with a mon that I've actually used in Wi-Fi before. Although BDSP, not Sword and Shield. Sadly, I chose the dog shit meta of the two first. But Gardevoir was an absolute staple in one of my leagues. It has really good special defense, and it has really, really, really good special attack. Psychic plus Fairy is really nice, and we are kind of stacking up on the Psychic type, but who gives a flying fuck? I like its status moves a lot, too. I would say that's pretty slept on, because, I mean, like, Moonblast is always going to be pretty important, but, like, Will-O-Wisp or T-Wave or Toxic, like, it has all three magics, plus, like, Wish, Healing Wish, Screens. I think it gets, like, Wonder Room, too, which is pretty cool. I'm going to try and bring Wonder Room one of these games. But, basically, this kind of opens the door for a lot of status potential, which I really, really like. And it can also just be, like, a Scarf or, a setup Pokemon, too. Really, really cool. But that kind of rounds out I would say, the core that I was going into, kind of thinking I'd get. This next Pokemon I basically just picked on a whim. That's Kartana. And as if my offense was not hyper enough, I basically, like, multiplied that shit by 2 with this mon. Because it is such a great cleaner, it is such a great breaker. It can do pretty much either of those two phenomenally. And that really helps whether it's an offensive Landorus or a Scarf or Specs Keldeo, or, just it helps any of these mons alleviate some of the pressure from them. Because now I basically just get a nuke at any one point, or just something that wins games after like turn 20. So this is pretty cool. I've also seen like Clutch and Ice Dimple Daim use it a little bit, and they come up with some demon sets with it. Even though it doesn't have that varied of a move pool, like, you can be really creative with this Pokemon. So I'm going to try and do that and get some cool kills with this thing. Up next, I got a little bit more speed too with the Talonflame. Obviously, Gravity isn't really doing much for this, but it is... I mean, I guess it like helps with like dual Wing Beat and Will-O-Wisp. But obviously, you do want to keep that flying type actually relevant. But this is the fast mon on the team. It's also the priority user on the team. Because as you can tell, there's like no priority at all. There's like Jet from Keldeo. There's like Vacuum Wave from the Kartana. Shadow Sneak. And the next user of priority, which is going to be a Sucker Punch user, is absolutely terrible. But Talonflame, I guess it's kind of the priority user. It's also a good support Pokemon. Just being able to get Wisps off, it makes it really helpful for stuff like Keldeo or Slowking to get set up if they need to. Same with Gardevoir as well. So it can be a pretty big nuisance, I feel like. Also, having some recovery is nice, because the only real thing with recovery at this point is the Slowking. So that's cool. Although there is Wish from Gardevoir, but it is what it is. Up next, though, I kind of picked this with Talonflame in mind. I've seen draft players pick both of these Pokemon, which are nice. Or especially Sword and Shield players pick both of these Pokemon, because there is a bit of a limitation on the stuff that you can get at the mid and low tiers. But up next, I got Scrafty, which I really like. And I've seen a lot of really good players pick up Talonflame plus Scrafty. I feel like this is like a Vepsis combo right here. But this is the dark type of the draft, which is really important. It's also, well, it's the physical fighting of the draft, which is, I guess, important. I mean, I think like Joey put out like a tweet of like Kartana being the best fighting type. And we obviously have Keldeo too. But like nice CCs or Drain Punches or whatever is nice. Knockoff is really, really important here. And Super Fang is, I think, really slept on in this Pokemon. especially to put in range for like Kartana or Keldeo or Scarflandorus or any one of these Pokemon here. It can really take advantage of a good Super Fang. But good Mon, good bulk, nice abilities as well. Doesn't have to run Intimidate, which I really like, because with the double Intimidate core, potentially some Mons might be able to abuse that. But with the next Mon, we picked one of my favorites and another Gravity user. There are 3 more Pokemon in this draft, and there are 3 Gravity users in addition to the Landorus. And this one is actually viable. It is Porygon-Z. Like, you know, people don't really use it for Gravity at all, obviously. People use it for a billion other things. Mainly just really, really solid normal stab, which I really like. But I think Gravity here is sick. I have been a fan of using bulkier Porygon sets as well as the fast ones. So I think being able to Gravity and like recover, something like that's pretty cool. But also, it gets Zap Cannon, which is really sick. So I'm going to try and use that. If not, then maybe like Thunder or Blizzard, because it gets both of those. And those are base 100 accuracy, or they're 100% accuracy, basically. So being able to just span those under Gravity is going to be really cool. And it's just a nuke. It's just another nuke for this team. The next 2 Mons I got with 3 points left, and these are Gravity users. They're more support users too. But this next one, this was the only one that I knew I was going to get in the draft, for sure. I knew from pick 1 all the way down to pick 11, I was absolutely getting this thing. And that was Meowstic. It's a 2-point shitter, but with Prankster, Gravity, Skill Swap, Trick, Wonder Room, Sunny Day, like, it really gets anything in terms of support. Even screens. And I've used this Mon in, like, Natdex OU with, like, G-Zap, which was, like, a setup variant, and, like, setup Mega Gyarados. It's a really cool Mon. And it also has the female version, which is, I guess, a better attacker, too. So I have some good support with this. I have some good offensive presence. Maybe. That's probably wishful thinking. But I also get a competitive user, which is nice, too. Because I can Spike Stack. I can get rocks up with lando-t. And I can pressure with this, maybe. One week, you know. Here's the hoping that I can do that. But for 2 points, I think it's going to be really cool. There is a bit of a psychic weakness amongst this team, but I don't really care. I think the rest of the team kind of balances it out, to be honest. And I'm not going to bring this that often. But with the last pick, you know I couldn't be called the Rock Man without getting a rock. Now, unfortunately, Relicanth was 2 points. I would get that under normal circumstances. But we got Boldore instead, which is another Gravity user. And it gets sturdy. We can run Custap with it. We can get rocks up. We can explode. Lots of good utility here, just for 1 point, which I really like. But this basically is the flying resist for the entire team, because nothing else resists flying. So that's cool. But I think we have, honestly, a few ways of dealing with flying types. I think there's some hidden bulk amongst the team that can kind of help deal with it. But that's basically the draft. That's my first Sword and Shield draft. And it is a Gravity draft. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you guys think? Leave a pog or maybe something a little longer down in the description. And I will see you guys next Wednesday for week 1. Take it easy, y'all.